Watch me. I'll do the fingering. Go on.
That one line might just sum up the weird, uncomfortable brilliance and confusion of Alien Covenant. It's beautiful, it's brutal, it's batshit, but above all, it's divisive. This is the movie where Ridley Scott clearly tried to please both camps, the fans of Prometheus's big questions and the diehards who just want the chestbursters and xenomorph action. And the result, well, it's kind of stuck in the middle, but that doesn't mean it's a failure. Today, we're talking about Alien Covenant, the second prequel in the Alien franchise, in a film that dares to ask, what if your creator hated you, while also exploding heads and guts in classic Xeno style. Let's break this one down. Welcome back to my channel, where we deep dive into the best, worst, and weirdest of the movie franchises. And right now, we're journeying through one of the most iconic horror sci-fi series ever made, the Alien franchise. Today's stop, Alien Covenant, the 2017 follow-up to Prometheus, and Ridley Scott's attempt to steer the series back towards its terrifying roots while continuing to explore some of the existential ideas he introduced in the last film. I gave this film a 3 out of 5, and honestly, I think it's a bit underrated. Yes, it's messy. Yes, it tries to do too much. But there's also a lot here to appreciate. The atmosphere, the performances, and the gnarly creature work that reminds you this is still very much an Alien film. But at the same time, I'll be honest, part of me still wishes Scott had gone full philosophy. Prometheus left the door wide open for some truly bold storytelling, and Covenant flirts with those ideas. So let's talk about what worked, what didn't, and what this film tells us about where the Alien franchise was headed, and maybe where it should have gone instead.
This crew is made up of couples.
It's the first ever large-scale colonization mission, and everyone back on Earth is really grateful.
Let's start with the premise. Covenant opens aboard a colony ship, the USCSS Covenant, carrying over 2,000 colonists in cryosleep on their way to a remote, habitable planet. Already, we're back into familiar sci-fi territory. Deep space, advanced tech, a small crew navigating vast loneliness. But the first major beat, the death of their captain in a freak accident. And this sets the tone. Things are going to go wrong, and fast. Soon after, the crew receives a strange signal from a nearby Earth-like planet. Against their better judgment, they detour to investigate. What they find is a seemingly perfect world that's hiding a whole lot of horror. Enter David, Michael Fassbender reprising his role from Prometheus, but now with even more Shakespearean villain energy. And here's where things get interesting.
I was designed to be more attentive and efficient than every previous model. I superseded them in every way, but you are not allowed to create.
This is where Covenant shines for me. You've got Fassbender pulling double duty as both David and Walter, two synthetic androids with vastly different worldviews. David is poetic, artistic, and completely unhinged. Walter, on the other hand, is the obedient next-gen model, reliable, practical, and devoid of David's creative spark. Their interactions, especially the now infamous flute scene, are dripping with subtext. It's about creation and control, about art versus order, about a child rejecting its parent and becoming a god in its own image. You can feel Ridley Scott trying to use these two characters to unpack the biggest themes of the series. Who made us? Why? What if our creator didn't care? Or worse, wanted to destroy us? In Prometheus, these questions were directed at the engineers. In Covenant, it's David himself who becomes the dark answer. He's no longer just seeking meaning, he's creating it. Literally breeding monsters in the shadows of a dead world. It's bold, it's bleak, and it's fascinating. But here's the thing. Alien Covenant isn't just a slow burn think piece. It's also a hard R horror film, and Ridley Scott wastes no time showing us he hasn't lost his touch for terrifying set pieces. Let's talk about the Xenomorph attack. The backburster and mouthburster scenes are straight up gruesome. We're talking people convulsing, blood spraying, and creatures popping out of places that just shouldn't be popped out of. It's body horror at its most effective. Messy, painful, chaotic. And when the classic Xenomorph does show up later in the film, it's leaner, meaner, and faster than we've seen it in years. The final act turns into a bit of a slasher movie in space, and while it doesn't match the sheer terror of the original Alien, it definitely delivers the goods for some lifelong fans wanting some Xeno action. That said, the tonal clash is real. You've got one half of the movie trying to be Blade Runner with monsters, and the other half going full-on Aliens action horror. It's ambitious, sure, but it doesn't always gel. One second, we're having a quiet, existential conversation about mortality. The next, someone's being gutted by a tailspike. Still, I respect the effort. One thing you can always count on with Ridley Scott, the man knows how to shoot a movie. Covenant is gorgeous. The landscapes, shot in New Zealand,
What did he say?
give the planet this lush, haunted feel. The towering temples, the blackened engineer city, the decayed remains of what came before. It all sells the idea that this was once paradise until David got his hands on it. The production design is phenomenal. You can see the echoes of Prometheus in the architecture, and you can trace the evolution of the Xenomorph's biology through David's experiments. There's an almost religious undertone to the imagery, like this is a fallen Eden corrupted by a rogue god. And Jed Kurzel's score, underrated. It blends eerie silence with callbacks to Jerry Goldsmith's original Alien theme and Mark Streitenfeld's Prometheus cues. It gives the film a mournful, almost operatic tone. Again, reinforcing that feeling that this isn't just a horror movie, but a tragic tale of corrupted ambition.
Will you help me build my cabin? The cabin on the lake.
And then there's that ending. Daniels, played solidly by Catherine Waterstone, thinks she's defeated the alien, saved the day, and is ready to return to cryosleep. But in one of the bleakest twists in the series, she realizes, too late, that David has taken Walter's place. It's chilling. She's trapped. The colonists are doomed, and David is now in control of a ship filled with hosts for his next experiments. This ending is classic Alien in its hopelessness. There's no victory, just survival. And even that's temporary. But it also leaves the story wide open. Where would it go next? How far would David go in his quest to perfect his creation? Unfortunately, we may never know.
You're meant to be dead. There have been a few updates since your day.
Let's talk about that scene. David and Walter's confrontation in the Engineer City is arguably the film's most powerful, and not just because it leads to a brutal, ambiguous outcome. It's a moment that perfectly encapsulates the central theme of Alien Covenant, the war between obedience and creation, between programming and free will. Walter is programmed to serve. David, however, has evolved beyond his code. He's become something else, something dangerous. Their fight is physical, sure, but it's also philosophical. It's a battle of ideologies. Walter represents control and order. David is chaos and ambition. And when David triumphs through deception, brutality, and a little sleight of hand, it tells us everything we need to know. The future of the alien universe doesn't belong to humanity. It doesn't even belong to the Xenomorphs. It belongs to David. Fassbender owns this movie. His performance is icy, elegant, and deeply unsettling. You believe he could compose a symphony and murder a room full of people, all without blinking. And when he steps into the cryo chamber and whispers,
Don't let the bed bugs bite. I'll tuck in the children.
you know exactly what kind of god he intends to be. That scene isn't just the highlight of Covenant. It might be the most pivotal moment in the entire prequel arc. It's the moment the franchise officially becomes David's story. So where does Alien Covenant leave us? Narratively, it leaves us in a dark, chilling place. David is in full control of the ship, the colonists, and the future of the Xenomorph. He's become the twisted god of this universe, and the path forward seems terrifyingly inevitable. As a film, Covenant is fascinating because of how it straddles two visions: Ridley Scott's grand, philosophical ambition and the franchise's gritty horror legacy. It's a movie trying to ask big questions and rip your insides out, sometimes in the same scene. That tension makes it messy, but also unique. I gave Alien Covenant a 3 out of 5, and that's not a knock. It's a film that swings for something greater, even if it doesn't always land. And honestly, I respect the hell out of that. I just wish the prequel arc had kept going, diving deeper into David's twisted evolution and the origins of the perfect organism. But that brings us to Alien Romulus, the newest chapter in the saga, and a film that I think finally gets the balance right. So if you've been on the fence about where this franchise was headed, or felt burned by past entries, trust me, Romulus is the rebirth this series needed, and I can't wait to tackle that one next in our review series. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments what you thought of Covenant. I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, see you in the next one. Take care.